If you've subscribed to this series, you know that my nickname is straight from the Bible, Genuine Nard. It was the oil that was poured out on Jesus' feet, and it shows that I am a spiritual person. So, in the journalism study that I used on growing my natural hair, because I have a journalism background, I discovered a beautiful recipe in the Bible for anointing oil. This anointing oil is absolutely amazing. I'm saying it's not like any other blend I've ever done. And here's the footage on how you can make a fairly authentic anointing oil just like in the book of Exodus.
The inspiration for my almost anointing oil is taken from the Bible at Exodus 30:22 through 25. I'm an avid Bible student, and I find that the more I study the Bible for answers, the more modern and practical I find it to be. Who knew that the practice of pouring oil on the head was good for you? God knew. Now, I don't exactly know all the ingredients that were in the original anointing oil. And good thing, because at Exodus verse 32 and 33, it's considered sacred in Israel, and the penalty for using the same formula or anything like it was cutting off from your people. And until I made it, I had no idea how would they know who was using it. But once you make the mix, it's easy to tell. Now, once the Christian congregation was established, the converts were no longer under the Mosaic law. However, the practice of anointing with oil was still done, as shown here at James 5:13 and 14. Here's the Bible's recipe and my version if you want to stop now and print screen. Before we start, let's take a trip back in time to Gethsemane, Jerusalem, where the olive groves are around 900 years old. One of the world's finest olive oils is still from this region. And infusing olive oil using the art of apothecary was the way it was made in the Bible. I try to make my version as authentic as I can. I make my oil in a crock pot, and the first thing I add is a cup of olive oil. It's high in triglycerides and contains monosaturated lipids, which can penetrate below the cuticle to the cortex of your hair. This is so important to strengthen your hair. Over time, treating your follicles with olive oil is said to stimulate the anagen phase of the growth cycle. I have a whole video on the growth cycle, so check it out. But logic leads us to understand that hair that grows for a longer time means longer hair. My next ingredient is fragrant myrrh resin. I buy these from an ethnic store here, but it's also available on eBay and Amazon too. Myrrh is a natural analgesic, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, antiseptic, antiparasitic, and it's also known for its anti-infectious properties. It's also believed to be a mood elevator, helping to uplift the mind. It was famously presented in the Bible to the baby Jesus, and it's used to this day in many parts of the world as a medical treatment for everything from gum disease to cancer. Now, I like to break mine up in a pestle and mortar so that it can dissolve completely. Resins can be very tough, and you don't want chunks of resin in any mix that you make. So taking a moment to bang this into a fine powder really will help it dissolve, and in it goes. Next, I add 7 cinnamon sticks. I buy these in big bags from the farmer's market. Now, I'm not sure if there's a real difference between sweet cinnamon as mentioned in the Bible. I'm sure someone out there knows, so if you do, kindly educate me in the comments, please. Cinnamon cleanses the air, and it also has antibacterial and antifungal properties. Some believe that it is a great muscle relaxant. I love the way that it feels on my scalp. It's just a little tingly. So cinnamon's very strong. If you're sensitive, start with less and work your way up. Next is Caneth bosom, or sweet cane when loosely translated. It's been controversial because we don't really know what it is. Everybody's got their secret ingredient. The Bible indicates that it was an aromatic cane or grass which was imported from a distant land by way of the spice routes. Several plants have the possibility of being Caneth bosom, and I use 3. First is lemongrass. Now, this could be a contender for the sweet cane mentioned in Exodus because this fragrant and delicious grass has been traded on spice roots for centuries. I picked up stalks at my local farmer's market. You can order it fresh or dried on Amazon or eBay. It's very tough to cut, so I left that part out, and it's known to make your hair just as strong. Lemongrass is antifungal and antimicrobial. That makes it great for controlling scalp issues like dandruff. Next is ginger root. This fragrant and delicious root has been used as medicine throughout the world for centuries. Ginger contains circulatory agents that stimulate the flow of blood on the scalp. Increasing the blood flow triggers hair follicles and it encourages new growth. Ginger also has essential fatty acids that prevent your hair from thinning. Now, in this recipe, I use it two ways. I chop up fresh ginger, and I also use a cold pressed ginger oil. So now, as we watch this bubble, I want to talk about oils. If an oil is heated beyond its smoke point, it gives off a toxic smoke. Because olive oil has a low smoking point, somewhere between 375 to 405 Fahrenheit, it's a safe choice for most cooking methods. But I'm still very careful, so I simmer low and slow for best results. As a general rule, I rarely heat any of my oils. Too much heat or sunlight can impact the quality of an oil because heat and sunlight can change the chemical composition, making it less effective. I let this simmer for about 5 hours in my crock pot, and once it changes colors, it's ready. So I just strain all of the content into my glass container after I have let it cool completely. It can still infuse into the oil in this glass container. And when I try and describe this scent, but I can't. I can just say my whole house smells blessed. And this is how it looks at this point. So only after I've allowed it to cool do I add my cold pressed ginger oil. I don't want to cook this oil. I just want to incorporate it well. And it's in there. The most controversial contender is cannabis. Kenneth Bozim was referred to as cannabis in the Talmud, and several churches in the Jerusalem region use cannabis leaves as an ingredient in holy anointing oil down to this day. This lovely little plant has been vilified because of the way humans have misused it. It's just a plant. And the hemp oil, which is what I use, is packed with fatty acids and proteins that are necessary for maximizing hair growth. It's legal in my state to use CBD oil and hemp oil, but check before you get yourself into trouble. So I strained this twice and poured it into a glass measuring cup. If it looks like I skipped a step, just know the straining process did not go so well. I like to strain it very well because I don't want any of that grit or residue in my hair. And I use my almost anointing oil as an ingredient to replace olive oil or as a pre-poo. I also mix it with my everything oil, which is a different video, if my hair feels like it just needs a little boost. This bottle will last me for about a year, even if I share it with friends and family. Now, the last thing I add is Cassia. I bought this on Amazon, and it is cinnamon, but not the bark. It's the lovely yellow flowers of a cinnamon tree pressed into an essential oil to make Cassia. It is strong and hot. Too much of this will feel like a fireball. I use about 25 drops. And then I let this sit for about 7 days until everything completely incorporates. The cinnamon is going to mellow in that time, and only afterwards do I use it on my hair. Now, once you smell this, it is easy to know how they would know if someone was making an anointing oil or something like it. My whole house smells so very, very lovely. I've never smelled anything like it or even close, and I hope that you'll try it.
And that's it. I wanted to talk a little bit before ending this segment about Cassia. The Cassia oil that I use in the video, this is it, and it is super, super concentrated. I'm saying you will know when this hits your skin. And that's what Cassia is supposed to do. Now, what I've started doing is using a little bit of Cassia in my cinnamon rolls. Next level flavor, I'm telling you, it's delicious. And then I sent off to get the Cassia flowers. These are from a Middle Eastern company that sells them on eBay. They are not inexpensive. However, I don't use them except for once or twice a year. And I'm going to tell you, this and a potpourri, oh my goodness, sometimes I just stick my nose in there. It smells amazing. And next time I make my anointing oil, it's going to be even more authentic. So I hope you enjoyed this segment and learning about the Bible's art of apothecary. I hope you try to make this mix, and I thank you so much for staying until the end.
Thank you again for watching. I would love to hear your success stories in the comments. You can click the red and subscribe to find all the videos in this series. Click here and check out these other cool videos, and click the bell to get weekly reminders when I post something new.